In today's episode, we'll be having a look at some different parts and their effectiveness. So these parts will include bumpers, structural parts, and melee parts. Hope you all enjoy. Make sure you like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss another tutorial video. Armour parts are very good all-round parts in general, and they add durability to the cabin, which makes them integral to a building crossout. This is because if the enemy shoots out your cabin to the point at which it breaks, it means that you'll lose. However, to combat this, adding armour will increase your cabin's durability, and the cabin's durability will only decrease after the enemy takes off your armour, so it's an added layer of defence if the enemy gets through to the cabin in one point. It is also bad for the armour because they can be higher in mass or power score. However, mixing these parts with other parts such as bumpers, melee or pass-through parts can make them much more effective. Bumpers are high durability parts, however they do not add cabin durability and can be higher power score for what they give. However, they can be very useful for making shotgun wedges, where a train plough is mixed with hatchets to make an unbeatable wedge which can flip nearly all types of vehicles. It's really fun and powerful. It's really great to play. Bumpers can also be used to armour up side panels, however it is advisable that you mix the bumpers with other types of parts, for example the armour, melee and pass-through parts, because having the one type of part isn't that useful. You need to have a combination.
Now, melee parts. They're obviously used in close combat against the enemy vehicles. When they touch the melee part, and depending on your speed and also the type of part that you have, you'll do a certain amount of damage to the enemy. Obviously, the more speed, the more damage, and the more knifey shaped parts tend to do more damage than sort of bumpery fixed parts. For example, the incisors or the hatchets do the most damage, especially when you're going fast, and you can exploit this by putting a ton of boosters onto a car and then boosting it straight into the enemy when you have a few melee parts strapped to the front. You can also have active melee parts that will do a lot more damage, and they basically act, except they cost energy to use and obviously do a lot more damage and will continue doing damage whilst in contact. Whereas the passive parts will only do damage once, and then you need to hit them again to do more damage. Now, pass-through parts. They're usually quite low mass parts and are typically used for mounting weapons onto when you can't fit or can't be bothered to mount them to your cabin. This is important because obviously most of the time they won't let damage through. They won't get damaged. They'll let it through them instead. So you can have typically 90% damage pass through or 25% damage pass through for some bumpers. Basically this means that 90% of the time they act like a hole. They don't take damage and shots just go through them and hit the next part. This is very useful because they'll be much less likely to be broken, and meaning that any weapons mounted on them will break off a lot less likely. If you have like a really low HP part and then you stick a gun on it, once that part's gone, your gun's gone as well, and that's a bit pointless. So using parts such as buggy floors, small buggy floors, most of them are the lunatic type parts, is very useful to secure weapons to your build, such as the cannons on this build are secured by buggy floors. This has been Crossout Bros. Thanks for watching.